WWE Backlash. It seems like literally yesterday I got home from Las Vegas. I got to say, this is a very quick turnaround from WrestleMania to Backlash this Saturday in St. Louis. Under 3 weeks, with WrestleMania essentially ending on a Sunday night and Backlash being on a Saturday. It's an under 3 week turnaround from one pay-per-view to the other, as this is the 20th WWE Backlash this upcoming Saturday from St. Louis. It is kind of weird because if you look at the chronological order of Backlash from 1999 all the way to 2009, 11 straight years of Backlash. It was a pay-per-view that you could set your watch to from 1999 to 2009, 11 years of Backlash. But then from 2009 until 2016, they took a break. I guess was one of the pay-per-views against Vince McMahon thought, hey, let's make up some other pay-per-view. I think that's around the time.
Speaking of 2009, that was John Cena's last appearance in a Backlash pay-per-view.
Yeah, and it was in Providence, Rhode Island in 2009, and it was in the traditional slot that is now. But when they brought it back in 2016, they brought it back in September of that year. So I don't really know. I guess it was considered like SummerSlam Backlash. And then we started on a roll again. We actually had a short turnaround from 2 Backlashes because September to then in the spot it is now traditionally right after WrestleMania. It was in the middle of May in 2017. So like an 8-month turnaround between Backlashes. Then we had one in 2018. But again, then 2019, we dropped it in favor of Money in the Bank in this slot. That was a famous Money in the Bank. That was the one where Brock Lesnar won the briefcase and essentially carried around like a boombox for a few weeks. But no Backlash in 2019. And then we've had a Backlash from 2020 onward, including 2 of them as WrestleMania Backlashes, with WrestleMania Backlash in 2021 and 2022. Before returning to Backlash in Puerto Rico. We saw that amazing Puerto Rico street fight between Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. And then obviously last year, the amazing French crowd for Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles in the main event. Heading into this year's Backlash 2025. Kind of a weird thing is, but the Providence, Rhode Island, the Dunkin' Donuts Center, they've hosted a lot of Backlashes. They hosted Backlash, actually. The last Backlash that was in North America, not counting Puerto Rico, was in Providence, Rhode Island in 2022 at the Dunkin' Donuts Center, but they hosted one in 2009 as well. And they hosted one back the very first in 1999. They saw Stone Cold and The Rock in a WrestleMania rematch. And that's kind of what Backlash is. It's a lot of times it's WrestleMania rematches and stuff like that. But heading into this Backlash, we got a main event on our hands that I think is worthy of being a WrestleMania main event, if you ask me. So I'll kind of just start off, we'll talk about the Backlash card and everything related to it. If you were to go back 6 months and you were to look at what you think would be a better WrestleMania main event. We talked about this before about how WrestleMania doesn't necessarily feel like the creme de la creme anymore of when it comes to the card. But John Cena is talking about his final run in WWE. January 1st, he's going to start the run. You're doing the booking. At some point, it's John Cena versus Randy Orton with maybe the championship on the line. What pay-per-view are you hosting that one last time match at?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean,
are you hosting it at Backlash or that? Because I mean, that to me is like a WrestleMania main event.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, regardless of whether the strap's involved, having the undisputed championship, involved in the match, you could still do it. Like Randy and Cena are big enough names where you don't need a title to make it a really good main event. So it's definitely, I would say WrestleMania. But for the sake of, argument's sake, I guess here, Backlash isn't a bad place for it, especially given the John Cena farewell tour, which is ending at the end of this year in 2025. So I like where it is. Now there is one match on the card. I know we're going to break it down. That is also I wouldn't say maybe main event worthy at this point, maybe future main event, but definitely a WrestleMania caliber match. It's Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch. Like that is going to be a really good match. I think what we've seen in the last couple weeks with Lyra Valkyria, with the whole Becky Lynch part of it, I think this is Lyra's best work. She's coming out of her, as they said on the broadcast, she's kind of coming out of her shell a little bit. Like we've always known that she's good in the ring, but her mic skills have really looked great. Like she stood toe to toe with Becky Lynch. So like, I don't know if it'd be a main event WrestleMania right now, but maybe this time next year it could be, because obviously Becky's a known property. Lyra's on the way up. So I could see that definitely on the card, maybe a main event down the line.
Yeah, I mean, I've loved Becky Lynch's little heel run here. We saw it on Monday Night Raw, talking about taking out the trash and stuff like that. I enjoyed that little segment. I actually enjoyed Becky Lynch. She was on like a post-Raw show on Tuesday morning, and she was talking about obviously replacing Bayley, you know what I mean? And essentially, you know, I don't want to say taking out the trash in that regard. She already used it before, but you know, she was talking about replacing Bayley, and she made a reference to you know, Bayley being sour about it and saying that she can pay $100 a month to go text her friend to talk about it, referring to Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks opening up a text line for fans. I guess it's like an OnlyFans, but for if you want to have an exclusive text conversation, you can be like, "Hey, Mercedes, good morning," and she'll personally be like, "Hey, good morning." Obviously, it's not through direct phone numbers. She's not getting your phone number. You're not getting her phone number. It's through an app or something. Yeah. I imagine she'll get back to you when she either gets back to you, or maybe you have like a paid designated time to talk to her. She'll talk directly to you. But it's $100 a month.
Isn't that crazy? That's crazy, by the way.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, listen, to each their own. I mean, again, we talk about WWE and this untold stuff and trying to peel back the curtain. I mean, again, when you're paying for anything, whether it's Mercedes Moné or it's the stripper down the street, when you're paying for anything, there's obviously going to be somewhat of a work involved, and it's going to be only so far, right? If you're paying Mercedes Moné to talk to you, there's not going to be a time where she's going to say, "You know what? I enjoy talking to you so much. Get rid of this $100. Let's just start talking for free and meet in real life." That's never going to happen. Yeah, no. It's going to always be strictly professional, strictly business.
Hey,
you know,
hey, that's Eric Bischoff's show, Strictly Business. Let's you know, shout out to Eric Bischoff.
And it's just hey, people, and I have to say, I guess maybe because she sets the price so high so that she can give people more attention, because she knows less people are going to take up $100 than $10, right? Maybe at $10, she's going to be too overwhelmed and won't be able to have time to personally talk to you. But $100 a month is a lot to talk to a person that I have really nothing to say to. I mean, that's just me. I got nothing to say. I mean, it would just be the dumbfounded, how you doing? What's it like being the champion? How's it like working in AEW? And again, these are all going to be, what do you think? She's going to like spill the beans to me that, like, you know, give me the exclusive scoop. Like, well, to be honest with you, I'm thinking about leaving. WWE called me yesterday and I got a meeting with them on, like, she's not telling me any of that stuff.
To me, it also, in a sense, it's a virtual version of when you're going to meet them in person for like a photo opportunity and paying for it. Like, you're getting that interaction, you're paying them to interact with you in a different sense. So, but it's still the same. You're paying them to have a conversation and in some cases take a picture, or in this case with Mercedes Moné, you know, have a text message. I mean, you and I are in the same agreement. I mean, to each his own. I mean, there's people out there that, you know, have made a lot of these OnlyFans, I don't know if you want to call them personalities, but a lot of money because they subscribe. So, hey, there's obviously going to be a market for it. You know, I'll never, you know, shame anybody for, you know, spending their money the way they want to spend it. And also for that talent to make money off of, you know, said, you know, person. So
I know I might, depending on how close I am with the person, you know what I mean? But if a friend of mine did, I might shame them. I might shame them. So you're better. You're a better person than me.
You don't have to worry. I won't be going down that rabbit hole, and I'm sure you won't either. So
it was funny for Becky Lynch to make that comment that if she wants to go talk to her best friend, that she can go pay $100 a month to do so. But I like Becky Lynch right now. This should be a good match. You know, overall, what do you make? Let's kind of step back from these two matches we were talking about briefly. What do you make of this? It's a 5-match card, and you know, there's really, like, it's not like Elimination Chamber or anything like that. In the sense of, like we have two matches that we know are going to be 1 hour long, right? We don't have anything on there that we know for sure is going to be that length of time. These seem to all be somewhat short matches. So there's only 5 matches on this card. What do you make of that? Do you think there needs to be more? This is a conversation we've had a million times, but it's not like the Royal Rumble, which you gotta like, these 2 matches are hours by themselves, right? Everything on here seems to be of regular length, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's a good question to ask. I think WWE has this new formula for non-core 4 or core 5 pay-per-views to make it a 5 to maybe 6 match card, and they're gonna get you for like 2.5, 3 hours tops, and that's it. And I think you'll see, like, I wouldn't be surprised if, I'm looking here, that fatal 4-way match, between Fatu, LA Knight, Priest, and McIntyre. I would bet that's probably going to be the longest match of the night.
Yeah, I mean, John Cena and Randy Orton, they've got history, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But yeah, I mean, obviously they're both a little bit older, right? I don't see them going for 35 minutes or anything like that. Dominic Mysterio and Penta, I imagine that's going to be a very entertaining match nonetheless. Yeah. But yeah, regular length match. Obviously, I think the shortest match on the card, well, it could be Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch, but it also could be Pat McAfee and Gunther, right? That has obviously what many would believe is and I think WrestleMania caliber match in the sense of its celebrity, its appeal, its Logan Paul-ish, if you will.
Wait, hold on. I don't mean to cut you off here. You really think Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch will be short? I really think it's going to be. I think that might be the second longest match of the night, in my opinion.
I mean, obviously women's matches are always such a flux because the time that they're given. I mean, I understand that they've come a very long way. That's without said, but I will say, women's matches in general, right? They do sometimes err on the shorter side of things when it comes to the time that they're given.
I think these two have a chance to steal the show. I really do. I think Lyra Valkyria is going to be one of the pillars of this women's division going forward for a long time. And then obviously Becky Lynch is a pillar of the women's division. She was part of that was it revolution, so to speak. So yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the match of the night when we talk next week about it.
Let me ask you this. I was just kind of bringing it up. Pat McAfee, Gunther. I think this is going to be a decently short match. Obviously, Pat McAfee hasn't been in the ring in some time. I think since COVID. He was actually, I guess you call it like his WrestleMania 39 appearance and, getting stunned by Stone Cold in Dallas and stuff like that. But this is, his first kind of match since back in the NXT time when he was, advertised as a match on those cards. But how do you like this theory I have? It's kind of out there. I won't lie. I kind of heard inklings of, not necessarily exactly this theory, but somewhat like this theory. But what about Pat McAfee winning this match, right? Showing up on Monday Night Raw, yeeting with Jey Uso, like he likes to do every single week. Both are celebrating over the fact that they took out Gunther in the last 2 consecutive PLEs. Yeeting, and then, just like any good WWE story, while Jey Uso's over here yeeting, Pat McAfee attacks him from behind, maybe with a steel chair, and we get Jey Uso and Pat McAfee for the championship down the line. What do you think of that?
Not happening. Not happening. I love Pat. You know how much I'm a Pat McAfee fan. We've been talking about that for years. I like it in theory, but I don't think it's going to happen. I do think Gunther's going to win. I think Gunther, I think Pat's going to have a few moments to shine. I think he will because he's a former NFL player, former professional athlete. So like he can do some things. I think he'll show some things, but I think Gunther at the end of the day is going to kick the crap out of him. Simple as that.
When it comes to
under 10 minutes,
maybe when it comes to Gunther losing, it could be because of this. And I'll ask you, give me kind of a thumbs up, thumbs down. Goldberg appearance at Backlash to cost Gunther.
Thumbs down, baby.
Not happening. Okay.
Not happening.
All right. Obviously we talked before about this could potentially be, the leading up to Gunther and Goldberg at two-night SummerSlam coming up. We'll see if it starts this week in St. Louis. But Cena, Orton, one last time they're advertising it. Don't necessarily believe that all the time. That's WWE's ploy to pull you in. They've done that many times before. But Cena in the previous, this is, I think, from 2005 to today, so the last 20 years, this is probably the biggest rivalry in WWE. John Cena, 13-7-1 against Randy Orton in their 21 battles dating all the way back to like 2005. The last time that these two guys squared off was on an episode of SmackDown in 2017. Obviously, we know about Cena and his 17 championship reigns. Right now, Randy Orton sits with 14 championship reigns. I don't think he'll catch up because that means he's got to lose a bunch. He's got to win, but then he's then going to lose it and then got to win it again. Those kind of things. But what is your just overall last 20 years? Do you think this is the best rivalry in the last 20 years in WWE, or do you have something better?
Nope, it's definitely the best in the last 20 years. Since 2005, easily. Obviously, we could talk about stuff prior to that in the late 90s, early 2000s. But if we're just looking at a microcosm of the last 20 years, these two guys they've been in the business together in WWE for all these years. Absolutely best rivalry going.
Yeah, they like John Cena debuted in 2002. I think Randy Orton also debuted in 2002. They both debuted like the same year. I think they kind of
were OVW guys too. OVW back in the day.
Came up together in OVW. And it was probably, when John Cena won the championship in 2005 for the first time, and I don't think he even necessarily had a match with Randy Orton then, but Randy Orton won the championship for the first time as well when he was breaking up with Evolution in 2005. Later on that year, I think it was he won at SummerSlam, or actually 2004, he won SummerSlam against Chris Benoit to become the champion. And then it was in 2005 that John Cena won the championship for the first time. And then after that, I think 2006 might have been the first time those guys squared off. But it is definitely a huge rivalry. Do you believe, now I'll ask you, obviously this is John Cena's last year. We believe it is his last year. Do you believe that this is it for John Cena and Randy Orton in the ring, one-on-one forever for this year?
Yes, it's done. I think this is the final match. So all you wrestling fans out there, make sure you watch it because it's the last time you're going to see it.
Who wins the match? Who's leaving Backlash as the champion?
Easy answer, John Cena.
John Cena's winning. Does he use any kind of trickery or anything like that?
Yes, I think he'll do some a low blow, or there's going to be a referee getting knocked around, something like that. And then John Cena's going to win dirty.
But Randy Orton won't demand a rematch.
I don't see it. I think that door's going to be closed because John Cena's going to be a dink about it. And he's going to be like, no, moving on.
All right. Backlash is this Saturday from St. Louis. It's the first pay-per-view of 2025 I'm not going to be at. The first three I was there. This is the fourth pay-per-view of the year. And crazy enough, like anybody else, if I'm not booked, right, there's a good chance I'm probably not even watching it. There's a couple wrestling shows. I'm not saying I'm watching it for sure. There's a couple wrestling shows this week that I'm thinking about going to. There's one that has what's it? Finley, Hornswoggle. Hornswoggle is going to be in Rome, New York as part of Immortal Championship Wrestling, but also in Toronto. There is a huge Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling show in the former Maple Leaf Gardens, a very historic building. Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, they're trying to make a return. They're an indie fed, but they're trying to kind of make a return from the history of what was 70s and 80s famous Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. And they've got a huge card. It's got Matt Cardona. It's got Speedball Mike Bailey. It's got Josh Alexander. It's got a ton of huge names on it, from former WWE to current AEW guys. So I haven't decided yet if I'm driving to Toronto to check out that huge show, Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling's major show, or if I'm heading out to Rome. But either way, that's the best part about all this, because with streaming, we can just watch it now whenever we want. Yeah, it's going to be tough, though, to be at wrestling shows to make sure that they don't talk about wrestling. And this is when wrestling on Saturday sucks. When I'm there, it's awesome. But when they're on Saturdays and I'm not there, this is when it sucks. This is when I wish it was on Sunday, because there's nothing for me to watch on Sunday night. There's lots of stuff for me to do on Saturday that I'll probably be doing instead. I wish from a watching perspective, it was on Sunday night.